Hi. Today I'm going to introduce to you what is in your creative art pack and some activities that can go with your art pack. So let's get started. First, we've got some amazing modeling clay, which we also have accessories that we can add a little bit more fun to our modeling clay with. We have oil pastels, which will be very exciting to explore. Some watercolor paints, which we also have watercolor paper and some extra brushes to use. We have 2 stencils, finger paints to get right into, Foam Alive, which is amazing to touch and feel and to play with. We have some of these, which are amazing. They are spinning tops, but they are also textures, and we're going to have lots of fun with this. We have this scratch paper, and for anybody that's never used scratch paper before, it's black paper, but when you use the little tool, you scratch away at the black paper, and underneath is a rainbow, and then that rainbow makes your picture. It's very fun and cool. Alright, and last but not least, we have a case to put it all in, to store it away for next time. All right, let's get to it. So I'm going to talk a little bit further about some of the materials that are in your art packs and some activities that you can do with them. But with all of the materials and activities, I want you to keep in mind that it's really important that you explore and you adapt what you know you can do with the materials. So you've got first your modeling clay. And what I really would love for you guys to do is not to just make something. I want you to really feel the clay. I want you to pinch the clay. I want you to roll it into little balls and to also roll it into little sausages and feel that. Feel how it feels against the table and against your hands. How does it feel to you? What I want you all to do is to make a little monster. And so I'm gonna make one too, okay? We'll make it together. So first, we've got our rolled little head. Then we're gonna, what color should we make the body? I think blue. Roll blue little body. Stick them together. And just because my monster looks this way doesn't mean yours has to. It's better if it's different. Alright, now what kind of monster should this be? One with tentacles. Tentacles, okay. I'm gonna have purple tentacles so we can use our little sausages. Alright. You might have legs, you might have a fluffy one. You might even watch Monsters Inc. and think about what kinds of monsters they have. There's so many, there's no wrong or right. Okay, so we've got our some little tentacles. Now my monster's gonna have a little antenna. It's kind of a little bit like an alien too. Alright. Now I'm gonna get a little bit more clay and I'm gonna stick some little eyes on. And maybe a smiley face. Alright. And here you have your little monster, yeah? Okay. But you guys could make anything. You could make sea creatures, you could make aliens. You could even just make a pattern. It's important to explore, okay? So now we're going to look at something else. We're going to look at the spinning tops. Okay, so everybody's got 2 in their pack, and what you do is the middle bit comes out, okay? And that's, take the lid off, and that's a texter. This is a texter. So you put it back in, and you might need a little bit of help with this, and some won't, but you spin. And as you spin, it makes, it's very pretty to watch, isn't it? It makes a pattern. I want you guys to do that a few times. Again, feeling, observing how it feels and how it looks. When you spin it a different speed, does it make a different pattern? If you do it on a different angle, does it make a bigger circle? And we're remembering that we have 2 colors, so we can mix it up. Oh, sometimes that happens. But that's good, because that means we're exploring and trying new things. Sometimes it takes a lot of goes just to get it to spin. Okay, so now we have these beautiful little patterns. Does this remind you of anything? Does it make you think about a different picture or a different artwork? I was thinking that for me, it makes me think about coloring in the little spaces in between. So I want you to grab your oil pastels and choose a color. I'm going to choose the orange. And I'm going to just color in some of these little spaces in between. It's rather tricky in some ways. They're really taking on a life of their own. And sometimes an artwork doesn't have to be a particular image. It can just be exploring. So I'm really enjoying using these oil pastels. So I'm going to keep adding to this picture with some oil pastels. Okay, I'm going to show you a little bit more about how you use them. So I'm going to just go for it with some different colors, just like this. And what is really awesome about oil pastels is once you've got some color on there, you can get your finger, and your finger's gonna get a bit dirty, and you can smudge them together. And again, thinking about how does that feel? See how it changed by smudging it together? And you could do this for lots of different pictures. You could draw some beautiful lorikeets with all their colors, or you could draw a rainforest. All sorts. But you know what? I'm starting to think my picture looks like some people flying a kite. Can you see that? I have to use my imagination to see that. Right now it's a bit hard to see. So, I'm gonna again get my oil pastels, and I'm gonna draw some little people. And you might see something completely different, and that's good because it means you are using your imagination. You could even go back and get the little texture and draw with the texture. And so I've got a little gown. Maybe I need a little boy too. They can be friends out playing with their kites. This boy, I think, has got 2 kites. Some little shorts. And a little shirt. What else do you think they need? I'm gonna add some more to yours. You could add hair and shoes. You could draw a whole family. You could even add their little dog. And remembering we can always use our fingers on these crayons too, which is cool, feels nice. Okay, so now we've got this very explorative picture of this girl and this boy flying these kites. And I think we haven't yet used our watercolors. So we're just going to get ready for that, and we're going to add some watercolor to that too. So we've got our watercolors. We need some water for our watercolors and some paintbrushes. The amazing thing about watercolors is that they can move and have a lot of ability to flow and create different pictures by flowing. But you always want to wet your brush first, okay? So you wet your brush and you choose a color. So I sort of think my picture really needs a sun and the sky. So I'm going to wet my brush and I'm going to choose some yellow. You really want to wet those watercolors. And you might even want to dip your brush again, just a little bit, and draw a sun. Again, thinking about how does this feel? How is it different to the other materials we've just been using? I always feel very calm when I use watercolors. Okay, and I'm going to also add some sky. But what you can do too is you can paint your watercolor paper with water. And then, while it's still wet, ooh, the texture runs a little bit. You can grab some color from some blue or any color you want, and you wet the brush and you put it on, and see, it's very faint, but you can see the watercolor starts to move because there's already some water all on the paper. And I could do this for I could watch the watercolors move, add other colors that you might want to add a bit of orange. See what happens when you blend them together in the water. I'm very curious to see what you guys make. Maybe when you finish your pictures, you could take photographs of them and send them back to the Autism Advisory Service so that I could see what you make. I think this almost looks more like a stormy cloud with some rain. See, the great thing about using the watercolors with the oil pastels is oil is resistant to the watercolors. So you could kind of try and paint over the top. And did you see that? Do you see how you can't cover that kite string? Because you can't cover the... And that's really cool, because now that means you could have drawn anything you like, and you can still paint the sky behind. So here is a picture where we've used the oil pastels, we've used our spinning tops, we've used watercolor, and you can see it can all come together, but you can also use all of those separate things separately for different pictures. And it doesn't have to be perfect, it's about exploring. That's the most important thing. Okay, we have one thing left to show you how to use, and that's our finger paint. So, get a new piece of paper, get out your finger paints, which look like this, and we're going to make a dot painting. And you can make a dot painting of anything. I'm going to make a dot painting of a fish. Okay, so I get the paint on my finger and I use the dots like a pencil. Keep reapplying the paint. And you know, maybe for this activity we want to put down some plastic and do it in a spot where it doesn't matter if we make a little bit of a mess. So now you can start to see the shape of my fish. And then you can even change colors. I'm gonna add some yellow in between these dots, so it's a colorful fish. And this is really fun. It feels really different to the other materials. I kind of like making a mess on my hands. Maybe we should even make some little bubbles. And maybe even some little seagrass. Look at my mess. So guys, you can see how you can use your finger paint and dots to make any kind of picture you like. So now You've seen how to use a lot of the things in your art pack. And I want you to know that you can always email me with any of your questions, and I'm going to attach details for you to be able to do so. And I would love to see what you make. Thank you.